volume and surface area of composite figures. Let's go ahead and work these out. First one is for volume. So we're going to be finding out what it can hold. When I look at this, I see two shapes. One is a triangular prism. I say triangular prism, not pyramid, because I have two faces, right? One on each side. And they're triangles for my bases. And so that means I'm going to use the formula for a triangle when I use my formula to figure out the volume. And the volume is going to be, let's see, 1/2 the big base times the height. And the big base is always whatever formula it takes to do the base. In this case, it's base times height divided by 2. And we see that that's the base is 10, the height is 4, so that's going to give us 4 times 10, and that's going to be divided by 2, which of course that's going to be 40 divided by 2, which gives me 20. Now, now that I have 20, I have to remember that I have to multiply 20 by my height, which is 5. You see right here, 5. So now 20 times 5 is 100, right? So that means that the surface or the volume of this is going to be 100. Okay, so let's double check this here. 1/2 base times height. Well, really, this should have been base times height because it was going to be 1/2 base times length. The base is already included the 1/2 that we had in there. So we have, excuse me, 20 times 5, and that leaves 100. So the whole volume of this is 100. And we could have also just looked at it like a half of a square. 4 times 10, that's 40. 40 times 5, 200. And then half that because we got half of a rectangular prism. It still would have gave us 100. So now let's go ahead and remember this was multiplied by 5, just in case those who were trying to follow along. That 5 was right over here. Okay, so our 4 times 10 was 4 times 10, right? And then divided by 2 because we have a triangle, and the formula for a triangle is base times height divided by 2. All right, let's worry about this rectangle down here now. It's going to hold whatever the base, the big base again, times the height is. And the big base is going to be a rectangle this time. Okay, and our rectangle is 5 by 10. So 5 by 10 is 50. So 50 equals our big base. Now we have to multiply 50 times our height. And our height is 7. So that gives us 350. That means the entire rectangular prism is going to be 350. And we add that to 100, which was the triangular prism. That gives us 450 inches. And since we're talking volumes, we're talking cubed. Okay? Now, I'm not going to go ahead and do 15 for you. That's for you to do. But I'm going to set up the formula for you to make it nice and easy. Remember, we're dealing with pyramids this time. If we're dealing with pyramids, we're always dealing with 1/3, well, base times height times length. Because remember, it takes 3 of these pyramids to fill up 1 rectangular prism. So 1/3 big base times the height. And what we're going to have to do is add that to, again, 1/3 big base times the height. So remember, you'll have to find the first one over here. the base will be a square. Base over here will also be a square, same square. And then we'll have to realize that the height is 7 over here, 8 down here, and we'll have to divide by 3 on each one of these once we multiply our big base times our height. And I'll let you figure out the rest. Let's go ahead and do number 16. Number 16 is called me for to find the surface area. This time I'm only concerned with the area that's on the outside. I'm not trying to find out what makes up the inside. I'm dealing with a two-dimensional object this time. All right, so let's see here. We've got 4 yards and 5 yards. And now how would I find out what this is? Well, let's follow it down. And we see that it's going to be 5 yards again. So let's see. I could go ahead and make a 5 over here to remind me that this part here is 5. So let's see. We've got 5 by 5. And that's going to be for here and here. And that makes 25, because 5 times 5 is 25. All right? And so let's see. This is going to be 25. This one here, this side over here will be 25. That's already going to give us 50. Now, we have to also remember that we have 4 by 5 over here. So this is going to be 4 times 5, which is 20. This will also be 4 times 5, which is 20. There's nothing down here that's showing, so we can't use that. But we do have the one back over here as well. So we have a total of 1, 2, 3 of them that will be, let's see, well, 60. Because 20 times 3 is 60. Now, we've got 25 and 25 is 50. 50 plus 60 makes 110. Now, we figured out the surface area of our top one. Let's go to the bottom one. The bottom one here on top is a little tricky. It doesn't give us a length, but it does tell us this is 9 and this is 4, which means this must be 5. And if this is 5 and this is 5, that means this has to be 25. So we're going to put 25 here. If we do that now, we can do this one. 4 times 5, and that's going to be 20. And if this is 20, then we know this is 20 as well. So that's going to be 40 together. Now we have to do the bottom one, and that's 5 by 9. So that's going to be 45. And now we have the two sides here and back over here, right? So this is going to be 4 and 9. So that's 4 times 9 is 36. And then we have 36 on the other side. Well, 36 times 2 should give us 72. So we're going to add 72 to this as well. Let's see what we get. Well, let's see. Well, 25 and 40 are 65. 65 and 45. Well, 5 and 5 is 10. So 10 plus, well, 4 and 6 are 100. Well, that's going to be 110 right there. Now we have 110 plus 72, so that's going to be 182. Now we add the two surface areas together, and we see we're going to get 292. And this time we're talking about yards, so it's 292 yards, and this is not a three-dimensional thing we're finding, it's a two-dimensional, so it's going to be squared. I'm going to let you find the surface area of this shape over here on your own, but I will tell you once again the surface area for each of these triangular prisms and rectangular prisms can be easily found by finding the surface area of each side and then adding them together. Okay, and we can always remember that the surface area of a triangle we can use by finding 1/2 oh, actually base times height divided by 2. That'll help us solve this area as well as the back area. And then these are just rectangles, and rectangles, 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 everything around there besides these two areas here and here, they're going to be just base times height that you will put together. All right, I'm going to move on to number 18. All right, we're off to number 18, and I guess it's good at any time to go ahead and put on our secret code word. I'm going to go with, let's see, well, what am I watching on TV right now? I guess I'll have to admit I'm watching Spider-Man Homecoming. And that is our secret code word for this evening. If I see this on there, I know you were watching the video, and lets me know I can take some shortcuts in grading. All right, I'm going to erase this off just in case people are thinking about just watching it for the code. But if you did actually watch the whole video, you know what to write on your paper and you know what to collect. Don't share it. Remember, you earned it. They didn't. All right. What is the problem here? They're saying Seth is finding the surface area of the composite figure shown. Find his mistake. Right off the bat, I can see the mistake. Can you? Well, he's finding the volume of this figure instead of the surface area. So he's using the wrong formula. Let's go ahead and use the right one, see if we can come up with the right answer. Well, first of all, we got a triangular prism up here, which is going to make us find the surface area of all the triangles here, right? And what we've got here, we're seeing that this is 6 by 6 by 6. That means every one of these sides is also 6. Okay? And we know that the surface area of a triangle, we can use our formula. And if we remember our formula that we use in class, we have to think about it real clearly now. The formula that we were using in class was base plus 1/2 PL for perimeter and the angular line. But look right here. We're not going to put a surface area on the base, right? Because it's hidden by this box. So we're going to cross this out and just leave it as 1/2 PL. Now, if I do that, first of all, my perimeter is 6, 6, 6, and then on the other side, another 6. Thank goodness, because we don't want 3 6s. 6 times 4, well, we know that's 24. So now we have 1/2, 24, and then we have to multiply 24 times that slanted angle, which is 4. So, once again, let's go ahead and do things a simple way. 1/2 times 24, well, half of 24 is 12. And then 12 times 4, well, that's 48. That means the surface area of all my triangles is going to equal 48. You see that? Okay. So we've got the surface area of this part figured out. Now we have to find the surface area of our cube. Now the cube could be pretty easy to find because everything is 6 by 6. So if we're going to use the cube as a excuse me, as a surface area, then we know that we have, well, 6 by 6. One base is going to be 36. And since it's a perfect cube, we know we have 6 sides, so that would be usually 36 times 6. But remember, again, we're not going to find the surface area of this spot right here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we're going to multiply 36 by 5 instead of 6. Well, 6 times 5 is 30. Carry the 3. And that's 15, 16, 17, 18. So we've got 180. So let's add our two things together. 180 plus 48. And that should give us, looks to me, 228 centimeters squared, not cubed, squared, because we're talking two-dimensional, 228 centimeters square. And that should conclude our homework for tonight. See you in class.